Hey, what's up guys, TotallydubbedHD here, and today I'm doing a video review on the BenQ GW2480. That is a 23.8 inch budget 1080p IPS monitor. It can be found on Amazon.co.uk for around £140, on Amazon USA for around $140 to $150. Now in terms of specs, this monitor has a 16:9 aspect ratio, runs at Full HD 1080p, has a quoted response time of 5 milliseconds, runs at 60 Hz due to its, because it's got a IPS panel and because it's a budget monitor. In terms of inputs, it's got HDMI, DisplayPort and VGA inputs at the back, and there's also 3.5mm jack in order to use it with your headphones. Other than that, the stand is pretty fixed. You can only do tilt adjustments, which aren't massive. There's no pivot or tilting adjustments, but given the fact of the price, it's to be expected. There is also built-in speakers as well, which is useful just for Windows notification. Other than that, I wouldn't use it for anything else. And as far as I'm aware, there's no AMD FreeSync technology built in. A lot of other manufacturers use it. I can't see it on this BenQ monitor. Now in terms of its competition, it competes with the AOC i2490VXQ and the ViewSonic VX2276. Now these two monitors have pretty much the exact same specification, exact same build quality and panel technology. Review links will be in the description below, which I've reviewed both on YouTube, and also links, buy links to these and the BenQ will also be in the description. Now, in terms of the monitor's build quality, now it's a three-sided borderless design. It looks beautiful. That means it doesn't take too much space on your desk. There's a black design with like a ribbed, or should I say textured stand. There's also a little iCare monitor I found at the bottom as well. And in terms of accessing the OSD, there is just physical buttons which can be found underneath the monitor. Very easy to access, and the OSD is pretty comprehensive. You can change the contrast, the color temperature, and each individual colors. In terms of color wise, what I've done, I have put, let me just try and find it, the color temperature, user defined. I've put R to 100, B to 100 and G to 99, so green is just one notch lower. Other than that, everything else is pretty much standard, and it's very easy to use. There's also AMA, which I've set to premium, and I'll get into that in just a bit in terms of gaming. Now, due to being an IPS panel, viewing angles are very good, contrast ratios are impressive as well, and the black levels are pretty impressive. In terms of just generally speaking, looking through images, I found that the BenQ monitor was able to portray an accurate image. It was also able to showcase colors as you would expect them to do, and given the fact of its price, I think it does a very impressive job. In comparison to the other monitors I mentioned, it looks pretty much identical. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all coming out the same factory. Just generally speaking, most monitors do nowadays. It's just that how manufacturers brand them or choose to include certain features. So overall color reproduction is good. However, there's one thing which really let it down, and that's its overall brightness. Capped at 250 CDM2, it meant that the brightness wasn't, the monitor wasn't bright enough. Of course, if you're in a dark room, you won't have any problem looking at this monitor, but in a bright room like right now, the monitor is actually quite dull, and it's quite hard to actually see all the colors pop out. Often I felt like I wanted to ramp up the brightness, but that is set at 100% already, and still it's just not bright enough. I wanted around another 100 CDM2 increase, in other words 100, just a little bit brighter. So unfortunately it's just a bit dull in comparison to other monitors out there. I did find the ViewSonic was a little bit dull as well, but the AOC wasn't as dull as this one. So that's just one of its major points that I should note, and given the fact that they're pretty much the exact same price tag, it was just something pretty disappointing. Now in terms of gaming performance, now it's not aimed at gamers, it's only a 60 Hz panel, it's IPS and quoted 5 millisecond response time. I must say in terms of casual gaming, you won't have any problems using this monitor. When I was playing Counter-Strike on it, what I found is that the monitor actually responds relatively well, and other than that, I didn't have any problems utilizing or playing on the monitor. Now AMA is set to premium, and what I noticed, there was a little bit of overshoot ghosting which does occur, so if you're going to be playing more competitive games you might want to ramp it up to the premium. If not, the high settings on AMA will be absolutely fine. So as I said, this monitor is not aimed at gamers, neither are the other ones that I mentioned before. However, it does run fine and it actually responds pretty well with a pretty low input lag. I should also note that I did try overclocking this monitor, and when I overclocked it, what I noticed is that it can reach 75 Hertz, and it does pass all the required tests, even though it says 74, 76 there. It's correct, it gets to 75 Hertz and it works flawlessly without any frame skipping. So yes, you can overclock this monitor if you so wish, and no, you won't notice any sort of gamma shift throughout the screen. So what do I think about this monitor? Overall, I think it's a good monitor. It does everything that it says on the tin. It's an IPS monitor, it's color accurate, the contrast ratios are out there. In terms of overclocking potential, it's got 75 Hertz overclocking there, just like the other panels that I mentioned before. It responds pretty well in terms of gaming. Obviously it's not aimed at gamers, but it can be used for like casual gaming, and it does just generally, the build quality is okay, it's not anything special, and the 3-side borderless design is nice to see. However, its brightness does let it down. It's a bit too dull, and in that respect it is quite hard to see why I would recommend this monitor over the other two aforementioned monitors. So there we go guys, hopefully you've enjoyed this review. Make sure you give it a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this monitor or other monitors out there. I'll be interested to hear your opinions. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Take care and bye bye.